was one of those sticky, windless August nights in a quiet rural town in Pennsylvania. The kind where the cicadas scream like they're desperate to be heard, and the air feels like it clings to your skin. Jake, 19, had just gotten home from his summer job at the gas station off Route 12. It was past midnight. He parked his car beside the house and lit a cigarette, watching the red glow dance in the reflection of his rearview mirror. His house sat alone, surrounded on three sides by dense woods, acres of private land that hadn't been walked in years. His parents were out of town for the weekend, so it was just him and the dog, Riley. He gave her a quick walk around the yard before heading in. She barked once at the tree line, low and stiff-tailed. He assumed she caught the scent of a deer or coyote, common enough out there. Still, he tugged her leash a little tighter as they went back inside. Around 17 a.m., Jake woke up to Riley growling at the back door. Not barking, just a low, sustained growl that vibrated through the floorboards. He got up and peered through the kitchen window. Nothing. Still, Riley was fixated on the woods. Her body rigid, tail flat, growl constant. Jake unlocked the back door and stepped out onto the porch. The woods were black. The kind of black that eats your flashlight hole. He aimed his phone flashlight out there, half expecting to see eyes reflect back. Nothing. Then the motion light at the far end of the backyard, near the woods, blinked on. Something had moved, but he hadn't seen it. He watched for a few minutes, silence. Then the light flicked off. Jake went back inside. He wasn't scared, but he double-checked the locks, just in case. At 3:40 a.m., the sound of footsteps on the porch woke him. Not animals, heavy, deliberate, human. He froze in bed, listening. 1, 2, 3, soft steps, then nothing. Riley whimpered from the hallway, ears flat. Jake grabbed the baseball bat he kept behind his closet door and moved slowly toward the kitchen. The porch was empty. He stepped outside, hard hammering. Then he noticed something chilling. The kitchen window screen had been removed, carefully, not ripped. Someone had tried to get in. He called the police. A deputy showed up 20 minutes later, young guy named Keller. He walked the yard with his flashlight, found some partial boot prints in the soft dirt near the woods, but no sign of anyone. "You sure you locked up after your walk earlier?" Keller asked. Jake nodded. "I always do." Keller looked at the woods, lot of hiding spots out there. "I'll drive the perimeter, but probably just a drifter. They come through sometimes." The cop left. Jake didn't sleep. The next day was a furnace, 96 degrees. Jake kept to the house with the doors locked, curtains drawn. He checked all the windows, nothing disturbed. Still, the image of those boot prints wouldn't leave his mind. At dusk, Riley began pacing near the sliding glass door, sniffing, tail stiff. Jake flipped on the backyard lights. A man was standing at the edge of the woods. Just standing, facing the house. He didn't move. Jake couldn't see his face, just the silhouette, tall, broad shoulders, hands at his sides. Jake called 911. The man turned and disappeared into the trees before the cops arrived. This time, they found no footprints, no trace. That night, Jake didn't sleep. He sat in the living room with all the lights on, bat across his lap, Riley by his feet. At 4:12 a.m., the back door knob rattled, slowly, testing it. Jake jumped up and shouted, "I have a gun." He didn't. Silence. Then came a soft knock. Once. Twice. He didn't move. The motion light flicked on again. He ran to the window and caught a glimpse of someone walking calmly back into the trees, as if they'd done nothing more than drop by for coffee. Jake didn't wait for the cops this time. He packed a bag, grabbed Riley, and drove to his cousin's place 3 towns over. Stayed there for the rest of the weekend. When his parents got back, they found the screen removed from a second window, this one in the basement. Footprints on the carpet just inside. Someone had been in the house. There was no sign of forced entry, nothing taken. Just those prints, and the dog's torn bed in the corner, shredded like someone had provoked her. The police investigated. They found nothing. Jake never stayed overnight there again. His family moved the next spring. No one ever found out who the man was, but the next family who moved in. Their teenage daughter swore she saw a man watching her from the woods every night for a week. Then one day, he wasn't there anymore. But she said she could still hear breathing outside her window when she tried to sleep. It was just past 11:30 p.m. on a thick, humid summer night when Kara pulled into the nearly empty rest stop off I-84 in upstate New York. She'd been driving for hours, trying to make it to her parents' cabin before midnight, but exhaustion crept into her shoulders like wet sand. She parked in a well-lit space near the main building, just outside the row of vending machines. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, bathing the concrete in a harsh white glow. Only two other cars were parked nearby, a white pickup truck and a dusty blue sedan. No movement, no people. Rubbing her eyes, she locked the doors, took a quick sip from her water bottle, and got out to use the restroom. The air outside was still and hot, but her skin prickled. Something about the silence didn't feel right. Inside the restroom, one of the fluorescent lights flickered, casting quick stutters of shadow along the tiled walls. The place was mostly clean, not that it helped the uneasy feeling crawling up her spine. She chose the second stall from the end. A minute or two in, she heard the door creak open. Footsteps, slow, not tentative, deliberate. She froze. The footsteps stopped just outside her stall. Silence. Then, a quiet, dragging sound, like a fingernail trailing along the metal door. She didn't breathe. Then, a whisper. "You're taking your time." Her heart slammed against her ribs. She clamped a hand over her mouth and stood up slowly, not flushing, not moving. Whoever was out there didn't move either. After maybe 30 seconds, the bathroom door creaked again. She waited. Another minute passed. Then another. She slowly cracked open the stall door. No one. She bolted out of the bathroom, scanning the parking lot. The white pickup was still there. The blue sedan was gone. She speed-walked back to her car, keys clenched between her fingers. She jumped in, locked the doors, and turned the engine. As she shifted into reverse, her headlights caught movement in the side mirror. A man, maybe late 40s, wearing dark jeans and a gray t-shirt, emerged from the side of the building, not from the front where the entrance was, but from the side utility door. He stopped when he saw her reverse lights. She froze, staring. He just stood there, one hand behind his back. Then he started walking toward her car. Slowly. Deliberately. She didn't wait. She threw the car in drive and peeled out of the parking lot, tires screeching. In the mirror, she saw him stop at the edge of the curb, watching her go. Never running, never rushing, just watching. She drove 10 miles before pulling off at a gas station, heart still in her throat. She went inside and called the police. The dispatcher asked for a description of the man and said they'd send someone to check it out. A deputy called her an hour later. The rest stop was empty when they arrived. But the security camera on the vending machine building, it showed the man walk out from the trees behind the rest stop around 11:25 p.m., minutes before she arrived. He wasn't driving either of the parked cars. He never used the restroom, never bought anything. He'd just been standing near the side of the building, partially hidden, waiting. There are no charges to file, no assault, no theft, just unsettling behavior, and rest stops like that. They don't have 24/7 staff. No cameras inside the bathrooms, no rules against just waiting. Kara never drove alone at night again, and she never, ever stopped at another rest area after dark. It was one of those July nights where the air is so thick, it feels like it's weighing you down just by breathing it. No breeze, no clouds, just a still, sticky kind of heat that clings to your skin like plastic wrap. The kind of night where every light attracts a dozen flying things, and every sound seems a little louder than it should be. I was house-sitting for my aunt and uncle. They live out in the countryside, about 30 minutes from the nearest town. Beautiful place during the day. Big wraparound porch, fields stretching for miles, and beyond that, a thin patch of woods that wraps around the back of the property, peaceful, quiet. But at night, when the crickets stop chirping and the trees stop moving, it's a different kind of quiet. And natural. I was staying for nights. They left me the key, showed me how to feed the dogs, water the plants, gave me the Wi-Fi password. The usual stuff. They didn't mention anything weird. But maybe they didn't think too. The second night, I was sitting in the living room, box fan humming in the window, TV playing something forgettable. The windows were open, it was too hot not to, and the screen doors were latched. I had both dogs on the couch with me, half asleep. And then I heard it. A knock. 3 soft, deliberate knocks on the screen door at the front of the house. I paused the TV and sat up. The porch light was off, so I couldn't see much through the window. But I figured maybe someone had car trouble or got lost. I walked over and turned on the porch light. No one was there. Just the porch swing moving gently like someone had just stood up from it. I opened the front door and looked around. Nothing but the gravel driveway, the fields, and that wall of trees about 200 feet out. No cars, no footsteps, not even the sound of someone walking away. I stood there for a moment, just listening. And I don't know how to explain it, but the silence felt thick, like it was pressing in on me. Like something was watching. I closed the door, locked it, told myself it was nothing. But I didn't sleep much that night. The next day was uneventful. I tried to forget about it. Maybe I imagined the knock. Maybe it was the wind. The screen door rattling. Who knows? That night, I shut the windows, even though it felt like a sauna inside. I couldn't shake the feeling from the night before. Dogs were acting weird too, pacing, growling at the window like there was something outside they didn't like. I figured it was a raccoon or a coyote. I went to bed early, had the fan running, the bedroom door cracked, the hallway light still on. And sometime around 2 in the morning, I woke up, not to a noise, to a feeling. You ever wake up and just know something's wrong? The air in the room felt wrong, heavier, still. I sat up in bed, heart already racing, and that's when I saw it, a figure, standing just outside the window. The screen was still in place, the window was shut. But the person was standing perfectly still, silhouetted by the faint moonlight behind them. I couldn't see their face, just the shape, tall, broad shoulders, hands at their sides. They weren't doing anything, just watching me. Frozen. And then, slowly, they raised one hand and pressed it flat against the screen. Didn't knock, didn't speak. Just held it there. That was enough. I jumped out of bed, ran into the hallway, grabbed both dogs, and locked myself in the bathroom. I called the police, shaky voice, whispering, and told them someone was outside the house. They took 22 minutes to arrive. When they did, they found nothing. No one on the property, no footprints, no signs of a break-in. And I'm sure the officers thought I just had some heat-induced nightmare. Maybe I wanted attention. Maybe I watched too many horror movies. But it was real. Because after they left, I went back to the bedroom, cautiously, and checked the window. There on the screen was a perfect, clear handprint. Pressed so hard the mesh was warped inward. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I sat in the living room with all the lights on, dogs by my side, just waiting. And I almost made it through. But at 4:46 a.m., I heard the back door creak. Not open, just creak. The screen door shifting slightly. I walked over, slowly, silently, and turned on the back floodlight. And just like the night before, nothing. Except this time, I left the light on. And 20 minutes later, the dogs started barking like mad, both of them lunging at the back door. I ran over, heart racing, and just caught a glimpse through the glass. Someone running across the field, back toward the woods. They weren't sprinting. They were walking fast, calm, like they weren't afraid of being seen. Like they'd done this before. When my aunt and uncle got back, I told them everything. They believed me. Because apparently, it had happened before. Twice, always in the summer, always late at night. A figure standing at the window, or knocking on the screen. And always gone before the cops showed up. They'd installed cameras after the second time, but nothing ever showed up on them. Not once. It was like he knew where the blind spots were. They think it's someone who used to live nearby, someone disturbed. Maybe a drifter who comes back to the area during the summer months, slipping through the woods, looking for places where people are alone. Maybe he doesn't want to hurt anyone. Maybe he just likes watching. Either way, they don't stay at the lake house anymore. They rent it out now, to strangers. People who don't know. People who leave their windows open on warm summer nights, and never think to check the screen. Alright everyone, that brings us to the end of our story. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. And if you have similar stories you'd like to share with us, feel free to reach out. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.